Today I'm looking at the psychology of self-realization. Oopsie doopsie, what a big one. Psychology in itself, can you spell it? If you're going with a S-Y, well come on, you gotta go with a P-S-Y. Realization, that you're spelling it incorrectly, good. But self-realization, that sounds deep. The psychology of self-realization now, deeper again. So what it is all about is, well, it's expression. In Western philosophy, that is, it's an expression of your own self. It's also in psychology within the West and spirituality. There's a religious connotation, especially in the Indian area, of things, not just in the West. And it's basically about looking at yourself, oneself, and how there can be possibilities of changing within your character or personality as such, so that you can begin to become more realized onto your spiritual path. You can then, without too much thought and analysis, get to the nitty-gritty of something, to the heart of something. You see, without this kind of self-realization, what is the goal? This is what, psychologists, philosophers, and even spiritualists would question. What is the goal of our spiritual journey? Because otherwise things are just disjointed and they're not going somewhere. And when we speak about goals, we always speak about, whether it's business, relationships, life goals, whatever, we always speak about where it is we're going and how to get there. But we must have a goal. And if we don't have a spiritual goal, well, then that's the ignorance towards the fact that there is actual spirituality there. Some people don't realize what it is that they're trying to attain with self-realization. And that's a fair point. But the spiritualists would say, and the philosophers, psychologists, etc., that we ourselves as humans become spiritual consumers that have to dabble here and there to try and figure out how we can get the greatest spiritual connection that is deeper and more, I suppose, divine than everywhere. And it's like going down the rabbit hole. It's like trying to figure out where and what is here, and before you know it, you're twisting, turning, going left and right, and it's an endless type of journey to try and figure out what it is that all of these philosophers, psychologists, religious people, spiritualists are saying. What are they driving at? What is it that we are actually trying to get? Where is that depth? If someone has that spiritual depth, how deep is the depth? What is the destination with this goal? Where can we get there? What essentially is self-realization? Now, there are a couple of definitions that have been known to be attractive enough to be foremost towards the research. And the one that is secular, really, according to kind of Western philosophical or psychological thought processes, is that self-realization is your own fulfillment of your particular personal potential in life. Now, if we think about that for a moment, self-realization, I'm realizing myself, what my potential is, in order to get most fulfillment for me. Now, if I want to become a fantastic business person, that is my definition from the outset of what my potential is and what my fulfillment is. And if I attain that, and all the different attributes that are with being a brilliant business person, then I have fulfilled my self-realization according to a largely secular definition of self-realization. However, if you're looking more at the Eastern side of the world, the Eastern spirituality side of things, you're looking at self-realization as being the knowledge or the embodiment of true nature, a higher nature, but a true nature. Now that trueness, that word true, rings a little bit deep, like the word depth we spoke about a moment ago, in that There has to be depth. But what that depth is, and that truth is the opposite of ego, is the beyond of ego. That's that spiritualness, that spiritual aim and target where we're trying to go. Now I know that sounds awful flowery, but you know what? If you want to divide and multiply, add and subtract, or put all of those to definition of spirituality, the spirituality one of self-realization, which is the fulfillment of your knowledge and embodiment of true nature, along with the fulfillment of your personal potential in life, and you mix them together in a bowl, what you're essentially getting from that, your self-realization, is about getting your potential spirituality and true nature fulfilled in order for you to use it within other areas, in all areas of your life indeed. So that's what we're saying here. Now, that is a kind of hybrid notion with the two different forms of what self-realization is. But essentially it's about getting the nuts and bolts, is about getting your highest potential that has not only a spiritual depth to it and trueness, but also, and truth even, but also a largeness of life where you can go out and attain what you want, disregarding ego, to be a better person. Now the shaman out there might say that there are realms of self-realization, and this type of essence that they go on about is the middle world, the lower world, and believe it or not, the upper world. And in the shamanic terminology, they see that the middle world is the realm where we live every day. So this is the first one they look at, the middle world. And then this of course looks towards the lower and then the upper world. Now the lower world is the downwards and kind of inwards, where there is a hidden beneath the surface type of life as such. And this is where instincts, dreams, unconsciousness, feelings, thoughts are central and core to the soul. On the other side of things then, beyond the everyday living of the middle world, away from that depth of spirituality, the core, is the upper world. And this where there's is regards to the outwardness and the upwardness of things, and where there can be a transcendence, and that's a very big important word with this upward, and this transcendence brings us up. It is going higher and beyond, and the beyondness is towards the soul, the mind, and here is where the realm indicates some sort of response. Now within all of these three realms, those aforementioned realms of the middle world, the everyday world, the lower world, and the upper world, there is this kind of ego. In the middle world, it's the ego growth. And if you think about, I need a big car, I need a better job, this is I, me, myself, and I need something bigger to fulfill my ego. No longer is a basic car good enough. No longer is a basic house good enough. The lower world is where the task of the soul is looked after, and the upper world is the spirit realization. Now some people will say the soul and the spirit, they're the same thing. Then religions will differ on that. Where it is, I think, for me, for you indeed, this self-realization is, it's about acknowledging the independence of the soul, the spirit, finding that depth within yourself, looking towards truth, and then using that truth with and for yourself, with and for others, in order to bring about greater change, depth within yourself, and greater change and possibility within your own life for you, but also for others around you. And if you can do that, I mean, that's a magnificent thing to do, if you can do even a part of that. But if you only do a part of it, and you're very good at one part of that, you still have to look towards balancing the other parts. There's other people outside your life. If you just become successful within your physical being, in your life of everyday life, the middle ground, as I say. If you're there, you can be tempted to become egotistical, buy a better car, want better materialistic needs. You're ignoring that spirituality, that soul essence within yourself that is there, that needs to be nourished. So we need to try the balance maybe of all areas there to help ourselves, our spirit, our working everyday lives, our relationships, our friendships, and so on, and others outside that realm for true balance and self-actualization. Actually, if you haven't subscribed, please do. If you have, thank you very much. Until next time, have a wonderful day.